There we are. Excellent. Just right on time, right?
Right on time.
So, hello there, everybody. Welcome to the show. I managed not to just get here in a matter of seconds, but also in the most responsible ways. And wherever. Welcome back to Music That Doesn't Suck. We're finally bringing the show back. It's the first time we live stream this show on this channel, brand new channel, that we totally didn't have to start off from the ground up. Why? Well, because the original channel, the main Barlow Music channel, has been under fire by the almighty algorithm. So many things happened and none of them were happy. But this new channel has been behaving way better than expected. Well, probably because their channel is totally wrecked.
Yeah, it is.
So, please, Theo, can you introduce us to today's topic? What are we talking about?
First and foremost, hello girls and boys, how's it going? I'm very glad to be back and it's great to have you here as well. And today, on the matter of music that doesn't suck,
Yeah.
which is the overall topic that we approach here, but going a little bit nicher, we're going to be talking about the cool factor in music.
What on earth is that?
So remember in the good old times when you respected the musicians on stage, you thought you actually found them to be inspirational. They were cool cats,
Yes.
and they had that kind of larger than life presence.
Yes.
Do you think it's still a thing?
No, of course not. No, of course not. It's gone. It's gone, and that applies to every form of music, not only rock music. And we're going to be discussing and trying to remember those good old days that are long gone.
But before we get to that,
Yeah.
would you like to expose to me what's today's mix?
Okay, actually, great question. Today's mix, it's actually something that I haven't tried before. This is known as a kamikaze vodka, and this bad boy, it's of course, as the name implies, is based on vodka, but it also has a quarter of lemon, not to be confused with lime, lemon juice, and a half an ounce of Controy, I don't know the pronunciation correctly, and 2 ounces of vodka. But you might be able to see that there is a slight difference between mine and his.
Maybe it can
It's
be
not
better.
that he's a drunk and he's been already drinking. No, the thing is that when I was preparing the concoctions, I did that first. And then I decided, I when I was doing mine, I realized I got a little bit of extra vodka on in the bottle, so I decided to pour everything in. Bad idea. It was almost like an extra ounce.
A little bit, yeah. It
Yeah,
looks at
so-
least an ounce.
So,
Cheers.
cheers and santé. This is actually very good.
It's refreshing.
It's very refreshing.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing.
And it is easier on the way down than I expected. I expected it to be a little bit more,
Why?
have more punch.
Why?
What's the proportion of vodka again?
2 ounces.
No, it's not that much.
No, vodka usually has it's kind of smooth, and that's what makes it dangerous. Because you just drink it without even realizing.
Yeah, because it's quite a smooth drink actually.
Yeah, it is. It is. But
It's an easy drink,
which
not
makes
to
it-
drink.
Yeah, because it actually has control. It has plenty of alcohol. I think it's almost like 45 degrees.
Okay,
uh,
so
rates.
considerable.
Yeah. So cool factor. How would you describe the concept of cool factor in music?
Look, plenty of examples come to mind. I think the first one, and I think everybody can agree, is any member of Van Halen.
Okay, good point. Good point. Why?
Because I think it's mostly about that thing that I mentioned before, the whole larger than life kind of feel. Just a quick pointing out,
Yes.
you might do well to move your lighting a little bit further away from you.
That's a continue.
Yes, so the larger than life feel, because of course you know at an intellectual level that you're still dealing with human beings,
Yep, of course.
but they have a feel of something more.
Mayor, right?
Yeah, it's something that seems to go beyond what any one person could achieve as a presence on stage, let's say.
Good point.
And again, you know that we're talking about just people, but they don't feel like just people.
I think it's because they, through the use of their music, or rather, through the use of propelling their personalities to a point of them becoming the embodiments, the avatars, if you wish, of that personality, the music make them look way larger than life. And one thing that I would like to add to that is that when somebody's on top of a stage, something magical happens. There are two options. One is you do well, and people respect you, or you do the usual and people
Meaning you suck.
yeah, and people will simply react to that.
Yeah.
And it could be very very detrimental to your mental health. So if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's quite easy for someone to fail, and nobody's expecting you to succeed on stage. I always like to use this analogy. Imagine that you're playing soccer, right? Football, for those of you who are saying.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, let's say they're playing soccer, right? And there's a penalty kick. In that one, if the guy who kicks the ball fails, he's gonna be mocked upon. But if the goalie managed to stop it by the miracle that is, he's gonna be enacted as a hero.
Yes.
Why? Because nobody's expecting the goalie to do something other than failing.
Yeah, on that situation actually.
Is that,
Yeah, yeah.
and the same applies to being on the stage. And when you deal with someone like Van Halen as a band, where every single one of them are doing basically stopping penalty kicks every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
No man, of course everybody's gonna lose their shirt, right? Especially girls.
It's actually impressive because being performing. Let's break it down into the many parts that are in this equation.
Yes.
Performing music. Performing music can already be a challenge. Okay, just the performing of music correctly.
Yep.
Just making it sound right.
Agreed.
Okay. If you're talking about good music, that's gonna be harder because usually good music is already more highly crafted.
Agreed.
Being on stage, you have to do more than simply performing the music. You have the show, and the show is a beast of its own.
Yes.
Because also you need to prepare for it, you need to rehearse for it, and you need to be good at it as well. Because you have also plenty of acts or plenty of musicians who are great at the musical side of things, but they don't do that well on the show
Are
side
you
of things.
talking about Dream Theater, for example?
Well, you will
Sam?
be able to tell me more in depth about it.
Well, Dream Theater is a very, very proficient band when it comes to the execution of their instruments, and they're renowned for being extremely good at it, and also being quite boring on stage. Because I don't know if it's due to the complexity of the compositions, but they are always busy. They have very, very little points of actual interaction with the audience, and they usually look kind of boring. I don't know, like very, very flat. Because they are not compared to something like AC/DC, which is a great show. Even though they are like 300 years old, they're still rocking it like a hurricane. Get it? So, yeah, they are doing it quite well, the same as usual.
Yeah, and I actually, it's funny that you mentioned AC/DC specifically because I saw something quite recent about them hitting the stage, and I was impressed by the energy that they were.
Well, right. I think
Yeah.
I saw the same snippet of what's the name of this? Angus Young.
Angus Young, yes.
Still
yes.
doing the whole thing correctly.
Impressive.
They're like, wow.
Yeah. Respect. I respect
Yeah,
that.
of course, that's good. That's good because it's clear that money hasn't been a problem for them in decades. It's clear that they are still doing it just cause because they love it and it shows, and that's something that has to be respected, regardless of you liking the band or not. I happen to like them, but enjoy them. I would put it that way, rather than liking them. But that's a matter of taste, of course. But one thing that I have to recognize is that they are great on stage. It's one of those rare examples of a band that it's actually throwing everything on the kitchen sink to the audience when it comes to energy. The projection is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's something that is kind of missing because what would be the first band that comes to mind from the last 20 years that could have something similar to Bon Jovi in the sense of this badass look? I know Bon Jovi is like is the girl, yeah, okay. But you get what I mean. It's a cool factor, right?
Yeah. You're not gonna like my pick because one band comes to mind,
Ghost.
which is not a band. No, actually, no. That is not necessarily a band that I have the biggest fondness of. But I gotta try to admit that they deliver a great concert, which is Foo Fighters.
Do they? I don't know. I
They
have
do.
never seen any of their concerts.
They do. I think Dave Grohl, he actually is quite energetic on stage,
Okay.
and the entire band delivers quite a good performance.
Okay, that's good.
It's not necessarily an acrobatic show with, let's say, Van Halen,
No, of course not.
but it's a very energetic one.
Okay,
And
at least that's still rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
That's still rock and roll, and I can respect that. But who else? Because I'm trying just to have a comparison point,
Yeah, no, out of the last 20 years, that's kind of hard actually.
and that's my point actually.
Because I can think of bands that fill out stadiums. Let's say Muse is a band that was kind of a stadium band.
It is.
I don't know if
Well,
it
it
still
was,
is, but it
yeah.
was. But honestly, I don't know. I don't know if they deliver on this level on stage the way you're putting it.
Because the thing is that I happen not to be a fan of the band, okay? But from what I know of them is that their shows were fantastically choreographed to the point
Yeah.
of being very awesome in the sense of lighting and stage. Even the way the stage was developed, I don't know how to describe it, like was impressive and kind of creative.
Yeah, but I think
It was
like
very visual driven, if that makes sense.
yes, but I think they relate more when it comes to concerts to U2, let's say, when it
Okay.
comes to the production and the massiveness of the concerts, than let's say Iron Maiden, which is a band that is not even the production, is the band.
Yeah,
Is
agreed.
every and each member of the band delivers such an energy, such a performance that you can't help but to be blown away by it.
Agreed. They have that larger than life persona, and the thing is that you're once again bringing us back to the '80s because it's a band that actually established themselves under the branding, the brand itself as a powerhouse back in the '80s. It's something that didn't happen in the last 20 years, man. And trying to come with something to come up with something similar or at least big enough. Would you say Limp Bizkit? Out of the or no, I think Linkin Park will be a better pick. What do you think? When it comes to the reach and the energy or the person, I don't like none of those bands either. But I don't have to like them to appreciate what they do. And because the thing is that, for example, Limp Bizkit is great live, from what I have seen. They're good performers.
The thing is that I have never sought after anything Limp Bizkit related because I'm truly not a fan. And the very little things that I've seen of them live were kind of bloopers and seeing them kind of failing.
Oh, okay.
So not exactly a good reference point. So I'm not gonna comment much on it because my reference point is limited.
Okay.
For Linkin Park that you mentioned, I do happen to enjoy their music. I like their stuff. Well, that was so condescending. But regardless, but I don't think they hold a candle. Even though I'm on the defending side of the deal, I wouldn't put them anywhere near. Let's say we mentioned Iron Maiden.
Really?
When it comes to the presence on stage.
Well, because look, all jokes aside, and me not liking them by any means possible.
We saw.
Yeah, no, jokes aside, no, for real. I always have the impression that they were very, very good when it came to dealing with the crowd and the energy projected on the stage. I don't know if it was just me, but look, if you can find somebody who doesn't like the band enough, it's me. So, but I think they are good. But it might be me. Could I be wrong?
Look, I think you're right, but we're talking about a sense of
course.
proportion here. About a sense of proportion here.
Yeah.
That is not that they are bad at it. In no means I think they're bad on stage. I think they're actually quite good. But we're setting the bar quite high.
Okay.
What I mentioned is not that they suck at it. I just think that they don't live up to some of the standards that were created in the late 80s, for instance. Because bands such as Bon Jovi, which is a band that, musically speaking, their music is fun.
Yeah.
But it's not a band that I would say, wow, their music is incredible. It's fun music to listen to. But their shows were simply spectacular.
But dude, let's begin for something even more basic than the live show, because the cool factor begins with the appearance,
Agreed.
the way they portray themselves to the world. And let me get the keywords because it's gonna be kind of
Okay, go for it. So I'll just bring myself into the equation for the time being. No?
No, look at that.
Finish. Okay.
There is.
No issue.
Okay, no problem. Here is. Okay, I need a mouse. Okay.
No, but look, you mentioned the looks and the appearance, and I do think that definitely plays a big part in this equation.
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna call cool factor having this impact that feels larger than life, I think the way that you sing definitely weighs in on this equation. Because I think there's some examples that could be cited that even looking plain, the person has such a personality, that has such a presence, that they have this larger than life feel. But usually you would need enhancers. You would need,
course.
let's say Kiss for instance. You
Yes.
have all of that presentation aspect of it, who plays a big part in them having that larger than life stage persona. Let's say if they were just playing people without the makeup, without the crazy outfits, maybe the impact wouldn't be the same.
No, of course not.
Yes.
But look, let's compare everything you said with this.
What's the style of the times?
Well, show it to the masses. Show it to the world.
There is.
Is it visible? Let me
I
make
think
sure.
it is visible, yes.
Let me make sure. Oh,
Yeah,
it
I
is
think
excellent.
it is.
Okay. Does that look cool to you? I'm asking. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just asking questions.
Look, it has attitude.
It looks like it means something, even though it's ridiculous by orders of magnitude.
By today's standards.
No. By objective reason, there is something going on it. They did it in purpose. It's not trying to look cool. They simply like the style. They did it, and no damns given.
Yeah.
Does that happens today? Because
really.
let's do the same, but now with Limp Bizkit. Let me make sure that I got the. And again, it's just me. It's not me picking on Limp Bizkit. It's the first that comes to mind from the last 20 years. Biscuit, how do you spell it? Like this?
It's there already. Just click on the.
Oh, I don't see. Okay,
Yes. Okay, so Limp Bizkit.
let's see. Again, it's the same. Oh, well, that's kind of. We need. Okay, is that correct? Okay, it's kind of similar because it's a photo. Okay. You can make the same claim as the style at the time. Yeah, but which one looks?
The lack of style of the time.
You see the difference, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that we happen to be fond of the 80s. No, the thing is that this looks like a rando.
Yeah.
It could be
yeah.
5 guys that decided to pose. For
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
There is no actual cool factor. Well, just this guy, Wes Borland, right? The guitar player. He's the guy who wears makeup. Okay, I can give that to him. He actually puts the part. But the rest is just dudes.
Yeah.
No problem with that, but what happened?
Yeah. Because the thing is, for now we're talking. The conversation goes beyond the thing about liking the looks or
Yeah,
not.
ignore
because, Because you show Bon Jovi, and it's at this point in time it's kind of cringy.
It is.
But you can't deny that there's a personality to it. There's definitely an attitude to it, and I think that's what feels larger in the life.
agree.
It's not even looking good. It's
Yeah.
just having personality, basically.
100%. Look, Cinderella. Looks ridiculous. Looks dumb. Looks stupid. Looks 80s as F.
Yes.
And super dated. 100%, man. But again, would you say that they do look the same as Bon Jovi? I think Bon Jovi looks better.
I think Bon Jovi looks better.
Because
as well.
this feels a little bit too forced, in my opinion.
But I think Cinderella was the beginning of the forced.
The hair metal band thing, yes, I agree. That's why I picked on them. Again, they're not a bad band. They simply were there in the wrong time. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they kind of feel like the victims of the corporate elements that were part of rock and roll back in the let's call it late stage rock music industry. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think they got the lesser part of it because the looks are kind of forced. It's way too much of the same thing. Because let's compare them to Twisted Sister. Because there is nothing cool about them. But they are Twister effing sister.
Yeah.
There it is. Let's see. Yeah.
But look,
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe exactly this because you look at Twisted Sister,
Yes.
and it feels like Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
And you look to Cinderella, and it feels like it's Cinderella trying to be not Twisted Sister,
But
but
similar.
something like it.
I read.
And it doesn't feel authentic.
No.
And look, you might disagree with me on that one, and if you do, please let me know in the comments because this is actually my own personal
opinion,
perspective.
Which is already wrong by default, but
It's wrong by default.
yeah.
But I think Cinderella feels like they're trying, not being. You know what I mean?
I
And
get you.
Twisted Sister feels like they're being.
I get you.
This is who they are. It's just an augmented version of who they are. Of course, this is. Of course, they didn't go out to buy groceries like this. I imagine.
Well, no, of course not. Just Schneider. What's the name of this? I forget the singer. He only got the hair. Because that's not a wig. That's actually her. His hair.
But what I mean is this: even though, of course, this is augmented, but I think it's just a projection of them.
It's natural.
It's natural.
Just a larger than life version, right? Something that it's extrapolated from the regular.
That's the word. It doesn't feel fake. It feels extrapolated, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think when you go on stage and if you're going for a public persona, it should be extrapolated because that's the kind of stuff that makes you inspiring.
Yeah. How about Quiet Riot?
I do think that they feel authentic. Let me show. I wasn't there yet.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think they feel authentic.
Yeah, because the whole thing with the mask and stuff was cool. Well, wasn't cool, but it was correct. Because especially if you watch the music video for that song, I can't remember the name, but the one that made them super famous.
Yeah, I can't recall either.
Yeah, it's a good track. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, please remind me the name of the track. The singer is actually wearing the mask, which was part of the live shows. If you don't understand the concept, well, it's just a band with masks. But, for example, that reminds me of their look. First, I'm gonna show you a failed attempt at doing the mask thing from the 80s.
Okay.
This is a band that I like a lot. That is not popular enough. That is Crimson Glory.
Okay.
But where is this one with the mask? Yes.
Yeah, looks very.
That looks bad.
That looks try-hardy.
That looks awful.
Yes.
And they are great. Great band. Great guitar player, great singer. Midnight was the name of the singer because he passed away. Great band, badass band. I recommend you to listen to Lonely. Such a badass track. Lonely tonight. You know, bang, bang. It's such a great track. If you like 80s heavy metal, yeah, that's heavy metal with a little bit of prog and hard rock. Great band. It has everything you will like, but the masks. And they actually ditched the mask at the second album. Because it didn't work. Because people thought of them as being yet another lame cash grab hair metal thing.
Okay.
And it didn't work correctly, and then they decided to throw away the concept of the masks. Now let me show you an example of the mask thing done correctly, and I think you already know where I'm going.
Yeah.
What's the name? Not Slipknot.
It's not. No.
Slipknot. Yeah, it is the name, right? How do you spell it? Because clearly not there.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. How many?
Yeah.
They have several versions of the mask. That's cool. Why? Because they came out during the late 90s, if I recall correctly, right? Early 2000s.
No, I think it was earlier.
Early 2000s?
No, I think it was like mid 90s. I think they came.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
Yeah. Well,
again,
don't call me on this one as well.
No, not a fan of the band. It's not my jam. It's not my style. But they are very good at what they do.
Yeah.
And one thing that I gotta give them credit for is the theatrics.
Yeah, true.
The looks, because they were clearly, you can see that they are inspired by Halloween, the movie. Friday the 13th, all of those movies from the slasher slash monster movie from the 80s, the ultra-violent ones. And it shows. There is that creepy yet funky and ridiculous factor to their mask and stuff. It reminds me, probably it's because I love Hellraiser. Have you seen Hellraiser?
Yeah.
It kind of has the vibe of Hellraiser characters. And they did it well. And the music, well, is not my jam, but you see that there is a good correlation, so that's good. And this is a great way to use the whole thing of the masked individual. What do you think?
I agree. I also must agree that I'm not necessarily a fan of the band, but their performance on stage and their personas on stage, the projection, the energy they deliver, is all to be respected.
Yeah.
I think they do deliver quite greatly on that regard, and I agree. They play the whole mask game correctly because it doesn't feel forced. Even though it is a gimmick, it cannot be put in any other way.
But it's well done.
But it's well done.
Yeah, because look, at the beginning we were trashing new stuff. Well, this is the newest I can get, and it's still good. And another one that is very good from this new batch, new, and you can totally not call me on that one.
New.
Marilyn Manson.
New?
I know, but what is the closest we got? That's the actual whole point of this conversation. We stopped doing this.
No, but look, Marilyn Manson will take me to a point of the conversation that I want to arrive.
Don't tell me about the myth.
No, but everyone knows what you're talking about.
Okay.
Marilyn Manson, again, clearly is the gimmick. He's He's a character.
I would call it millennial Alice Cooper.
Millennial Alice Cooper is a character being played here. And he's a well-played character. I'm not gonna take anything away from it, and I think he did it well. He developed a whole mythology around the whole...
Mythology is the word, yes.
And it was properly done.
Yeah.
I think it's a good chunk of his success come out of that. Another chunk is the music. Well,
How much of the music is...
the proportion is up to debate.
It's up to debate. Because in my opinion, again, not a fan, but I happen to like some of his songs very much. Very good. Some of his music is actually very good. It's right at my alley. The rest...
But look, let me use him to go back to the center point of this conversation.
Go.
Is the whole thing about cool factor. We've been talking about artists doing the artistry that delivers great shows and delivers that persona that we expect out of an artist.
Yes.
Many of the latest examples, they were reliant on the use of tools. Let's call some of them gimmicks, some of the, well, enhancers, okay? Marilyn Manson uses the makeup, uses the persona, Slipknot uses the mask. So they all use enhancers.
Yes.
But what about, and these are the ones that I truly have quite a lot of respect for, the guys that manage to deliver the larger-than-life aura without having to rely on enhancers.
Are you talking about Led Zeppelin?
I'm talking about Led Zeppelin is definitely one of them.
But
Definitely.
I definitely need the remote.
Because you know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
know exactly what you mean. Let's bring a photo out of them. Just discuss. Okay. Even the pose.
Yeah.
Why? One thing is that probably that was taken during one of the biggest tours they did, and it's one of the very first bands that actually toured the world massively. So I can imagine that, given the historical context, the fact that they took the photo besides the plane, projects that aura of extra success, untold success, maybe, because I think the biggest band before them was the Beatles. And they were bigger than Jesus, so
Proven by numbers.
proven by numbers. So it was already a tough position to beat. But they somehow managed to make themselves probably, and you don't have to quote me on this one because I'm not the one who came up with this. They became the greatest rock and roll band in history. Do I agree with that sentiment? Not necessarily, but I have a hard time
Denying it. Yeah, agreed.
Why? Because the pose, they are not even trying. That's the thing. And why? Because they let the music do the talking first. And they are simply just, yeah, we did Stairway to Heaven. And they're just like, yeah, it's us.
And how can you counter-argue?
Yeah, for as much as it overplayed, it's tiresome. I never listen to it because I'm tired of it. I can't deny that it's a badass track.
No, it's a great song.
It's a great song, the same. We did rock and roll, man. We did, well, Black Dog is not that good. But we did the Rain song, Kashmir, Immigrant song, Lemon, God damn it.
Yeah. The whole catalog.
It just continues.
Yeah.
And I think it's just them, like, yeah, it's us. They don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And that is why we like effortless look. Well, it simply pulls out of them, man.
Yeah, because I think that's exactly the point that I'm trying to arrive here, is that they didn't need any external enhancers for them to have this cool factor that we're talking about.
Oh, really?
It's them. It's straight out of their personality, it's straight out of their attitude. And you see, this photo is actually a pretty good example because there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's just barely
standing.
posing, they're just
Yeah.
standing, but there's something that feels huge about it.
Even the clothing
Yes.
is regular ass clothing from the 70s.
Yes.
No, I can see from here. I just know. Yeah.
But it feels huge.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Because even when you see them performing live, some of the concerts, the footage that we got, that's when you get the confirmation of them being the baddest rock band ever. Because they do look the part and they actually act the part. And I think that's part of the mythology behind the entity that we know as Led Zeppelin. Because I think at this stage they have transcended the concept of being a rock band. They are now an
Mythological
institution,
figures.
mythological figures.
Yeah.
which They are beyond just a bunch of guys writing badass music. Because their music has had such an impact on untold generations at this stage
Yeah.
that we're like, what, 30 years away from them being seen as hero-like figures. Of course, not like Cyphers Kane, but like more like Ulysses. No, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Because we're getting far and far away from what I could consider to be the heroic age of rock music.
Yeah.
Got me?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know your Greek mythology, the heroic age is before the Greeks were a civilization, and it's the tales of Achilles and Hercules and all of the badasses that you have at least seen a pitiful attempt at a movie retelling their tales. And it was written in such a way because it was kind of like we heard the tales of these guys and we kind of collected, and they feel like they are beyond human. And if you know, I don't know if that makes sense to you, because these bands such as Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all of the great badass bands from the 70s and early and late 60s were what, almost 70 years away from their heyday.
Yeah, actually.
60. Yeah, 60, 70. Damn.
Look, I'm actually gonna hang on to a tangent here because
Go
I
ahead.
think it can be an interesting point of conversation.
Yes.
You mentioned the whole thing about how some of the stories of the heroes of the past, their stories became heroic or even more heroic as they were passed down, because the effect of time itself and the transcendence of generations kinda augmented the whole thing.
Yep.
Now that we live in an era that we have such good documentation of everything in every single format imaginable.
Is it reliable?
Well, we can bring it into the conversation, but seeing how everything is so well documented, do you think that the status of hero as of old is still even possible?
For someone in the current age to develop that status? I think it's always possible because it happens. Because, but I also can think of examples of people that couldn't become, that are historical figures but are not legendary. But probably it's because of time. For example, think of Napoleon Bonaparte. He's a historical figure. Is he legendary? Not yet. Probably because we're still quite close to him. But it's already, time-wise.
Yeah.
The same happens to Bach. But I don't know, 100 years? This is what I'm taking you to. And I think that in rock music, since, and contemporary music for that matter, I think that since we have been going through such a low point in the last 25 years, and each year becoming less and less and less palatable, because I don't know if you have heard the newest track released by Milena and Michael Jackson.
I haven't.
That's the point of conversation for next week's podcast, you're gonna say.
Yeah. Okay.
It's nah. Any form of respect you have for the guy, and see how serious I am. Like,
For real? That's kind of sad because
it's bad, man. It's bad.
No, I do enjoy his stuff.
Yeah, but
You know,
well, I think you're gonna stop enjoying it after you see this. But whatever. What I mean is that acts such as Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd feel so unattainable now,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
because it's not common to find a band that shouldn't be better, but at least like them. Get me?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be equally good. At least in the way, a little bit on the same vine. And we don't have them.
No, we don't.
We don't have them. And you can call all of the big nose individuals and stuff, but it's not just the industry itself. The fan bases. Just think about take a look anytime you wish at the top performing songs on Spotify. You're gonna find the usual Fleetwood Macs, the usual Metallicas, the usual Blink-182 acts that the youngest is already 60 Just saying. Why? Because they have that status. And people, why would they listen to something new when they can listen to freaking Led Zeppelin?
Well,
It's a very tough sale, man.
And I can put myself on the same boat, being honest, because even though I do put in the effort every so often to find new music, I think is important because there is good music around.
Agree?
I won't say that good music is dead,
Yes.
but it's kind of hidden.
It's hidden.
So you do need to put effort to find it. But still, even me that puts some effort into it, I would most of the time be gravitating towards the same old.
But you know why? I think a huge problem comes from the way that the conception of how a modern band look has been lost. We don't get any of these. And I showed you examples from the 90s, from the 80s, and from the 70s.
Yeah.
All of them had something going on.
But look, now that you went into a time regression,
Yes.
the biggest band in history before Led Zeppelin was the Beatles.
Okay.
You mentioned themselves. Do you think the Beatles had the cool factor?
No, but they did later. Let me show you. Okay. Beatles. I think I spell
very
it
wrong.
terribly.
That's
It's
very,
because I can
very
see
wrong.
I can see what I'm doing. There is
Yes, the Atlas.
the Atlas. Here is okay. Look, excellent. We got the perfect comparison. That looks like a bunch of dorks,
Yeah.
but then that's rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
That's freaking rock and roll. So from dork to godhood, of course, that's I think the point on which they achieve apotheosis, man. Because they began like this.
Yeah, but they were huge.
No,
by
they were
Abbey
huge.
Road, they
Oh,
were
well,
already huge.
Yeah, no, but the thing is that they became huge during this period.
Yeah.
They realized that they needed to move on. Because the good guy looks is not rock and roll, man. And then they decided to do whatever is needed. And if you know what I mean, like replacing people with doppelgangers and stuff,
Without trying to go.
and leaving messages of certain people not on the photo not wearing shoes and stuff. No. All jokes aside, they actually evolved, and when they reached that point in their career, they look like their music.
Okay, agreed. I
Get
can
me?
agree. Yeah.
And they started off as just four dorks. Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But and even by those days' standards, they were just regular muffles. But then, like, no, stick to the man, and they decided to grow their beards and grow hair, and they look badass as they could, as much as they could. So, but yeah, and the photo, tell me if it's not iconic.
Yeah,
When
it
it
is.
comes to the Beatles, which one you don't think of this? Nah. Maybe not even this. And this is a better photo.
It is. But
You always think of that, man. Or Sgt. Pepper.
yes.
It's always
Yeah.
those. Why? Because that's where they look like the Beatles.
Yeah, because they captured the essence of their music, as you put
And
it.
their personality and their attitude, man. That's cool factor manifested, man. And again, from here to here, scientifically proven that yes,
Yeah.
even you could look cool if you put the effort.
Who would imagine that this will become so inspirational?
Yeah, well, look at that. Look at that. That's what rock music is all about. What? What's wrong?
I think we're kind of lopsided.
Oh yeah.
Let me.
No, it's correct, man. You're just being finicky.
No. Regardless,
Okay.
if you were to pick one artist, or well, what is the first artist that comes to your mind whenever you think of being cool?
Let's first define cool. What would you use? What would you think is cool? Because there are plenty of artists that comes to my head right now, but that doesn't mean that they are cool. It could be that that I appreciate what they do, to the point of me seeing them as aspirational role models.
Okay. No, I'm looking for a more that whole larger than aspect that we're talking about. Someone who has that personality that feels that goes beyond your average human being.
Okay.
I'm talking about attitude. I'm talking about personality. I'm talking about that
Okay.
presence.
I'm gonna answer to that question as a singer. Okay.
Okay.
The first that comes to mind is freaking David Coverdale.
Good pick. Yes. Yeah.
Look, even when he's trying to cosplay Mozart, he looks cool. Why? Hair. It's the 80s ridiculous hair. Yeah, but he rocks it.
Yeah.
Then why? Badass shirt. badass jacket, and I think it's a sport jacket. It's actually dapper, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell that there is a square, a pocket square.
Yeah, from here the thing is covering here. But
Yeah, but there is something there.
Mhm.
Then a live photo. Look, and that's when he was like what, 100 years old, probably.
100 and some.
Yes.
Yes.
So, the same ridiculous hairstyle from the era, but looking cool, badass. The shirt is correct. The pose, man. And I have seen him perform live. Damn, every chick on the audience is throwing every kind of underwear they got, and even more, because I can assure. I even thought that she's wearing like 5 rats just to throw them. For real. And look, I have seen her throwing. She already threw what she got. Actually, there's still more coming. Okay, that's testament of what I'm saying. Look, that's cool factor, man. In my opinion.
Yeah, that one is kind of smiling like an ant.
Yeah, but look, I think that's what portrays everything. He's enjoying it, man.
Yeah.
He looks real. He looks like, yeah, I'm having a blast, and I'm doing badass music. So I think that's a cool factor.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that could be a good example of what makes cool factor be what it is.
Agreed.
Again, I am extremely biased towards the 80s. Not necessarily. I actually make fun of the 80s as much as I praise them, because it's also the era that brought us stupid shoulder pads and horrible technique, the color, the blown out colors, the fluorescence colors and stuff, and cheesy music. Agreed, but it also gave us this. So, what do you think? What will your pick? What are you doing?
My pick. Let me see, because there are plenty of examples of this super huge personality being seen in bombastic ways. I think it's even harder to have that big persona on a more muted package. Let's call it in a way. And one that's coming to mind here is Sting.
Sting, good pick.
Because I think Sting has that cool factor, but he's not necessarily a loud, bombastic personality.
No, he's not.
But there's something about his attitude that feels massive.
Yeah, and I think that's a good showcase of it, because
Yeah.
how old is he now? Like also 90 something.
I
Like,
think
also
he's
90.
I think it's be 80 something.
80
yes.
something. He doesn't look like it.
No.
Why? Because he's still the same guy.
And he still has it.
Yeah.
He still has it.
Yeah, he still writes badass music. He's still a great performer, a great singer, and well, man,
That's cool.
did that
That's
for
cool.
real. That's like, damn, how do you do that? Effortlessly. That's how, and that's the difficult part of it. That's like, how do you pose like that with a lot of care, man? Because that was planned. It's not an accident. It's not natural. He's a natural maybe, but he knows that there's effort in it. It's a sprezzatura if you want to go fancy, because it's basically that, man.
Yeah, because to me he's the quintessential cool cat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
Because he's not necessarily like David Coverdale, who's a badass. He's a badass in his own way as well.
But it's not as bad as.
Yeah, but he has that cool guy vibe.
It's like the. I wanna be him.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, that's a badass.
When I grow up, I wanna be like him. Yeah.
And still, when I grow up, I want to be like him.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good pick. How about Freddie?
Freddie Mercury, you were talking about.
Freddie Mercury. Or Freddie Krueger.
Freddie Krueger, he definitely has the cool factor.
Yeah.
No, Freddie Mercury is interesting because for as big as his persona is on stage,
He's.
I wouldn't necessarily use the word cool
No, me
to
neither.
describe him.
Me neither.
He's amazing on stage, and
Yeah.
he definitely has that larger than life aspect that we're talking about.
But he doesn't look cool.
No, I think the framing would be different for him. He's a beast on stage, as one of the best we ever had.
Yeah, great.
Um,
But he doesn't have that thing, right?
yeah, cool is not the word that I would use to describe him.
Me neither. Because when I think of him, is this moment.
Yeah,
With
awesome.
Radio Gaga, yes,
awesome. Yeah.
badass. I'm not a Queen fan, but god damn it, what a performance and what a badass song.
He poor taste.
Yeah, says the guy who likes. Whatever. But yeah, good point, man. I didn't think of him. I have never thought of him as somebody who had the cool factor.
Look, that thing with the yellow jacket, that's cool.
But it's the same concert.
I know, but what I mean, that moment, I think that.
But look, it's this.
Yes,
But
that's cool.
I think that's adding more to what you just said about him being a beast on the stage. The other guys were like that regularly. They had that Sting sounds like he's Sting every second, and Freddie Mercury always gave me the impression, I might be wrong. Obviously, I never met the guy, but
Didn't you?
no man. By the time, well, being a vampire kind of puts it in perspective. So the thing is that it never gave me the impression of him being that guy doing the thing everywhere.
Okay.
It gives me the impression of him being quite reserved.
Agreed. I have the same impression, but it's interesting because even though I feel the same about it, about this topic, I don't think that his stage persona is fake.
No,
it
no,
doesn't
no.
feel fake.
No.
It's just different sides of the same human being.
Yeah.
But he does have a kind of a reserved aura about him that probably when he steps, every new step that he takes towards the stage is like he's growing like 10 inches.
Yes.
And then when he hits the center of the stage,
It's just,
he's massive.
It's massive. Agreed.
And then when he steps out, it feels like the
Yeah.
opposite happens.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel fake.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's the
feel fake.
impression I got from him.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good way to describe it, because he's such a great performer, but I don't simply see him being this giant on a daily basis. For example, Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page. Or the other guy, the guy from Queen, what's the name? How can I forget his name? The guitar
what's-
player.
The Brian May.
Brian May.
Yeah.
Brian May, he looks authentic the entire time. And I'm not saying that Freddie was faking it, okay? It's simply that Brian May on the stage looks like Brian May.
Yeah.
It always is it, look. It's the same.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get me? I know this could be, come on, that's stupid, that's a bad, no. I mean metaphysical speaking.
Yeah.
And look, the fact that both of us agree,
Yeah. It feels the same.
it feels the
yeah,
same.
Yeah.
And Freddie becomes better. Get me?
Yeah.
And I never met the guy and everything, but he gives me the impression that he was containing the power.
Yeah, but it feels like he was born to be on a stage.
Kinda.
It's like the entirety of his persona
Was-
only happens when he's on top of the stage.
Wait to say, yeah, actually,
And it's kind of incredible if you think of it.
it is,
Yeah.
it is, because another one who is great on the stage is Bruce Dickinson, obviously,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and yeah, even today.
But would you use the word cool to describe Bruce Dickinson?
No, by any order of magnitude, he simply is. Get me?
Yeah.
Because he's one of a kind, man. I would say
Yeah.
that he's the word that I would use to describe him is authentic, if that makes sense to you. Because I wouldn't say that he's cool, especially during the 80s when he was rocking the ridiculous hair.
That didn't work on him.
Never. He
That
looks
really
way better with a short
yeah.
hair, man. By orders of magnitude.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of obvious that I am a stern defender of long hairs.
Yeah.
But this
No, it's not for
simply
everybody.
didn't work.
No, it's not for everybody, man. And I don't think that, because look, the difference in time is gigantic.
Yeah.
But I see the same guy.
But he looks cooler here.
Yeah,
And he's plainer. He's plainer here,
Yeah.
but looks cooler.
Yeah, he's less effort. He's more effortless, and I think that
Yeah.
comes with age. It's the kind of stuff that you project when you are mature, if that makes sense. Let's see, because this photo kind of has both. No, who's that? Adrian? I don't know.
Motley Crue crew.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know the name of the guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's the name of this? Sebastian. Sebastian Bach. Is I think I got my hair metal wrong today. But you get it. So yeah, Bruce Dickinson is a monster on the stage, but I wouldn't describe him as being the epitome of cool. He's something more akin to genuine, authentic.
Yeah.
He's who he is, and take it for where it is. The thing is that everybody likes it. It's a lovable character, if I put it that way.
Yeah.
The same what happens with the now no longer part of Iron Maiden, Nico. Nico McBrien, right? I think
McBrain.
I could.
You said Nick McBrain. I don't know what you're looking for.
Nico.
Nico McBrain.
Nico. Is with Mac or MC?
Just go down and enter.
Okay. I can't read from here. That.
Yeah, he's such a nice
Yeah,
guy.
is that he's such an yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you-
Yeah.
Nice.
But he's the
nice.
kind of guy that brings out a smile on.
Yeah, he's that kind of people that actually inspire you to. He's not that bad, man.
Yeah.
And it shows because the way he played the drums, the way his contributions to the band, and how much energy he projected through his personality alone, promoted the music propelled the music to higher skies, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But again, I don't think I would use the word cool.
No.
He's really cool, but not in the sense of the cool cat.
No.
He seems cool as in someone who would be
Personality-wise.
awesome to hang out with.
Yeah, he's cool in the sense of being.
Yeah. Seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, because the only one that I think has a chance to be cool and take it with a grain of salt, Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden as well.
Yes.
He's the only one that I think kinda gets the job done.
On the cool factor?
Allegedly.
Well, you're not necessarily making the best case here.
No, but man, it's Iron Maiden. We're talking about soup. Well, it's the best they got. Okay.
This photo's cool, the one on the side. That's a cool photo.
It is. Totally not doctored.
Wow.
No, but it looks cool. No, but I get your point. And as you can see, being cool is not easy.
Yeah.
It's something that requires many moving parts that are not necessarily easy to spot. Because what could be seen by some people as cool, the vast majority of people will see it as lame. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, but I think more than seeing it as lame, I think especially in current times, which kind of can also be a topic in this conversation. I feel that it's kind of proven, even by some of the examples that we gave, that a lot of the cool factor that we're talking about comes out of having a strong, big personality.
Agreed.
Okay, and I think even that is a dying art.
It is.
Yeah.
It is because in a world where everything is cynical, where everything is unsincere, where everything has to do the Marvel, did that just happen thing? How can somebody be genuine and authentic? Everybody could. The thing is that our culture is not promoting. So the moral of the story is, don't give a damn. Make yourself the better version of yourself, and do it with care and with passion, and do it in a way that actually follows aesthetics. That's a good starting point. Because not because you like it doesn't mean that it looks good. Got me?
Yeah.
But if you like it, it's because there's something good about it. Just find a way to adapt it to your own style, and little by little you can find your own footing on it. Because coming back to my starting point as a performer live, one of the biggest Achilles heels that I had was not looking like a dork. And being a dork is something that every single one has as part of our DNA. And it's something that we have to learn to overcome. Not everybody, no one was born into James Bond. You become James Bond by learning etiquette, learning good manners, becoming intellectually speaking not stupid, developing as a personality, and a good one for that matter, not somebody who's just an attitude and no more, being friendly but not agreeable, having some form of edge to you but not becoming an edgelord. And the difficult part is how much of each. You gotta know, you gotta learn, and you gotta decide. And when you're performing, you gotta extrapolate all of those lessons into crank them up to 40,000, because that's the only way for you to attract attention from the audience. And if you do it correctly, they will like you. And if you play good music, they won't kill you. Okay?
Which is always good.
It's always a good thing,
Yeah.
I guess. So what would you say as a final comment after my monologue?
Look, I think the whole, because you mentioned the many moving parts of what would make a personality stand out. The thing with personalities is that it should be unique.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own, and even though every personality is gonna be different, it doesn't mean that it's the same things that will work usually. Because I think it's more about making whatever it is that makes your personality
Shine.
you big, visible, and not necessarily loud, but face fronting. Especially that I'm talking about here, not the regular everyday interaction. Okay, I'm talking about that larger than life feel of the cool cats that we're talking about here. So I think they all have big personalities, but they know how to project their personality.
Okay.
It goes beyond simply having and being. There is a skill to it as well. I think there is something to be learned when it comes to projecting and making that personality seen. Because again, personality, everybody has some form of personality. That personality can be fostered and can be grown into something more interesting, something more appealing,
Or it could suck.
or it could suck. But there's an exterior skill to that, which is projection.
Okay.
Is knowing how to make that personality seen, manifest that to others in a way that's gonna be perceived the way that you want to be perceived.
100%.
And that's tough. That's not an easy skill to have.
It is, and that's taking us into much more serious territory. But just to add to that and to put an end to this conversation, because we actually managed to fill up the hour. Look at that. It's important for you to be aware that your personality might be yours, but your personality has to be a good one. Just because it's yours doesn't mean that it's correct. You gotta do some actual introspection. You gotta analyze everything you do, the good and the bad, and stick to the good and remove the bad little by little. Because just because you have a certain quirky personality, that doesn't mean that it's a good one. It simply means that it's the way that you're developing yourself and presenting yourself to the world. Don't expect the people around you to bend around you, because the world doesn't roll around you. It does its own thing, and you're part of the world. Period. So on that note, Dexcom,
Okay, so that's not correct. So you're gonna take us home.
what are you doing? Okay, wherever.
Yeah.
If you like sports kind of content, then the best way to get in touch with us is by listening to music on Apple Music or Spotify, and also by following us on social media such as Instagram and X, because that's the best way for you to get in touch with us in a much more personal basis. And also from time to time we can drop some golden nuggets that could be useful for you in the form of actual music recommendations. So if that's your jam, please do that for yourself. And if you want to add a little bit of an extra bit of salt to the injury, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Ring the bell, like this video, share it with your frenemies, and as every single time that I meet you, I gotta remind you that you should never let anybody tell you what to dream about, talking about personality, and never let anybody tell you what to dream about. We will see you when we see you.